All right, in this short demo, we're going to show you how to convert the H&M Fashion Recommendations Kaggle competition into a Kubeflow pipeline very easily using the open source Kale JupyterLab extension. So let's go into it. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is to go ahead and create a new notebook. And it's going to be very similar as we saw previously. We're just going to go ahead and name our notebook, in this case H&M Kale. Next up, we are going to make a few modifications to the resources. We're going to bump this up to one virtual CPU as well as 32 gigs of RAM. And then we want to increase the size of our storage volume to 50 gigs. Once this is done, we're ready to go ahead and click the launch button. Now, once the notebook is up and running, we want to connect to it. We're going to skip the step that involves downloading the project. We're going to assume that you already know where to do that if you walk through the previous demo. So with that done, we're just going to navigate into our project directory, double click on the Kale notebook, and the first step to do is going to be to do a pip install, and this is going to download our necessary packages. And once you get confirmation in the output that you have successfully installed those packages, and you can see that here, we'll highlight it, then you want to go ahead and restart the kernel. And with the kernel restarted, we're ready to move on to the next step, which is going to be to download the actual data that we need for this particular project. So here, we're just going to substitute in our Kaggle username as well as our Kaggle key. And with that done, you just want to run that cell. And when you're running that cell, you'll see the progress of the various downloads occurring. And you'll also get a confirmation when those downloaded files have been successfully unzipped. You want to make sure that you get that confirmation. You can see that highlighted in the output. So with that, we're ready to just go ahead and enable the Kale JupyterLab extension and start working through the various annotations that are automatically populated for us. You can see we've got our import cell. We have a load data pipeline step, and then we have a sparse matrix creation pipeline step that is next, and you can see there that it depends on the load and preprocessed data step. Next up is going to be our model training step, and you can see that this particular step depends on the previous sparse matrix creation step. And then lastly is going to be our prediction step, which actually depends on all three of the previous steps. So with that, we're ready to go ahead and click compile and run, and we're going to validate the notebook. We're going to take a snapshot so we can reconstitute this environment at a later point, compile the notebook, upload the pipeline, and run the pipeline, and simply click on the view pipeline hyperlink, and you can see we're already in the runtime execution graph. So we can see that we've created a volume, we've done our load and preprocess step, we've done our sparse matrix creation, and then now we're in the train model step. Once the train model step concludes, we're ready to move into the final step, which is going to be the prediction step. And with that complete, we have successfully created a Kubeflow pipeline for the H&M Fashion Recommendations Kaggle competition using the open source Kale JupyterLab extension.